So the first 9 months, if I'm not mistaken, around $700,000 that was made off the sale of the game. Uh, I guess what made you guys decide? Okay, let's let's go to Shark Tank. Like how was that kind of thought process, and how did that come about?
So I was actually on it one time before with a different product that I did with my niece like 5 years ago. Is
Oh,
when
really?
fidget spinners were really popular, and we came up with this concept of it was called lickety spin, and basically you took candy and put it into a mold to create a fidget spinner that kids could play with. So it's like a do-it-yourself kit for kids to make candy fidget spinners.
Huh.
And we applied to Shark Tank, went on, ended up getting a deal. But the way it works, as many people have heard, is that what happens on TV is not necessarily what happens after the fact. And um, we also never aired. So, and I don't know exactly why, but we also, the deal that we made on air didn't follow through. So we didn't air and we didn't close on our deal with the Sharks that we met. So, um, needless to say, I was like a little
Oh,
miffed by
nice.
the whole Shark Tank
Yeah, for
experience
sure, for
initially.
sure. No, that'll
And
do it.
so
Yep.
yeah. So when we did Paddle Smash, I don't know, we talked about it, but I was like, screw Shark Tank, we don't need them, you know. So fast forward, it's March of this year, so March of 2023. We launched in October of 2022. So then, whatever, 5 months later, we're at a trade show in New Jersey, and everyone and their brother are coming up to us being like, this is great. You guys need to be on Shark Tank. Scott and I wear these like kind of silly 70s style tennis outfits.
I saw that.
And
Yep.
we were wearing the same outfits that we wore on Shark Tank at this trade show. And we heard it from like everyone. And we're just like, okay. And I was on the way back from there to the airport, and I got an email from a producer at Shark Tank asking us to apply. And I was like, you know what, Tim, swallow your pride and your ego. Like this is a really good opportunity. If it works out, like just do it. So talked to Scott. We decided to go for it, and applied to Shark Tank. It's a pretty arduous process.
Right.
Lots of paperwork and I don't know, interviews and etc. And it was about a 3 month process before we got the nod that we were getting called to go out to LA to shoot in June of this year. So right now we're talking in December of 2023. So, we shot the episode in June of 2022 in LA, and it just aired this past October.
So how was is the process a little different? Because I interviewed some guys, the Turbo Trusser, which is a way to truss like turkey and chicken and things like that, and they were on Shark Tank. Actually, like you said, it's a very arduous process because they had to apply twice. I think the first time they said they essentially got denied, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe several months later they end up applying again, getting the call back. But this was maybe around the time of they end up doing a deal with Kevin O'Leary, which it seems like it has paid dividends. But they end up this was during the time of like COVID, so they end up I think having to do like a video.
Mm.
He was saying that they typically you go in to kind of to shoot the I guess what is it I don't want to say it's a test run, but the pitch that you give because you have to make a video. They said and send it in, and but he was saying
Mm-hmm.
that in the past you actually had to go. They had these little casting calls or whatever you want to call them at different places throughout the country, and you have to go there in person and kind of do your pitch to the producers, and they decide ultimately who gets on. But he said because this was COVID, they had to send a video in. Did you guys have to do a similar thing in terms of send a video in, or to essentially kind of get
Mm-hmm.
on, or did you guys just go in?
Yeah, no, we did. I think because of COVID, they revamped their process. I think it worked out well for them, and they realized they could do basically the whole interviewing process digitally, save everybody a lot of trouble and cost of traveling. So,
Right,
yeah, everything we did was basically via Zoom um, prior to flying
right,
out there. So it was a lot of like Zoom calls, Zoom pitches.
right.
We would record our pitch, Scott and I, send it to them. Um, so yeah, it was all done remotely and digitally until we ultimately went out there and talked to them in person.